Absolutely. That's where the investigation is going to go now to try to find out why here, what his motivation was, and the preparations he made.
We're living in a time where everybody has a right to identify who they are, and they're allowed to show indignant outrage. And what I'm seeing is people in the cyber world that it's almost like a drug, where they say things and do things online, and then when that's not enough of a stimulus for them, we see it carry over into the real world. And it is a breakdown in our culture and our society, in my opinion.
Well, now we know some more information about the shooter, and it's so sad. And you can see in the video that the weapon that he was using had a lot of markings on it. Underneath the trigger guard was the word freedom. I saw -51. I looked up online. I couldn't find anything to understand what some of these things meant. That's what really freaks people out, is because it could be people that are the least expected to do something crazy. So it's good to stick to your community and really pay attention to certain signs that could possibly raise a red flag in your mind, and it's something that should at least be reported to at least take a look at. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below.
Maybe I've seen his face, I don't know, but it's just so scary, to have a shooter next door to you and you have a kid. And those innocent children, they don't deserve to die like that. It's crazy. They don't deserve. I'm sorry for their loss. Sorry to the parents, and sorry to those innocent children. It's so scary.
As your mom yourself, what's going through your head knowing she's gonna be school age soon?
I know. I don't even wanna think about that right now.
My neighbor started texting me and said, there's helicopters all over our house. And then my son went to Annunciation. And my phone started going crazy, so I turned the news on. And I thought, what in the heck going on? The only time I saw him was kind of out and about. We have a yearly annual block party. The last 2 years, I've never seen the family, but our other neighbors work out with the parents. And so I've only seen him in passing. But
and I heard something really loud, I thought it was fireworks in the church. And then I saw the shooting. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared. And so a teacher led me downstairs to the preschool classroom. And so I went there, and me and my friend Cece were just praying, and then we went outside. We were just waiting there, and then we went to somebody's house to be safe, and then we went to the F-45 thing, and then I saw my mom, and I was just so happy.
They interviewed that little girl, and you can see just the tone of her voice and her body language of what she kind of witnessed. And she was studying her words and trying to figure out exactly recalling certain things that happened. And things like that happen so fast that, especially as a kid, you're only collecting the most important information. Okay, I got out of there, I got back to my mom, I hugged her, and it's really sad. And I believe the media shouldn't just be the ones interviewing these kids or anybody involved in situations like this. They need to have some therapists start evaluating these kids, because we don't know which kids actually witnessed certain things that could have made these kids very traumatized and put them down a path of just complete shock that could last there for eternity, for the rest of their lives.
Now, FBI Director Kash Patel just posted on X, quote, "The FBI is investigating this shooting as an act of domestic terrorism and a hate crime targeting Catholics."
This individual, Robin Westman, has been identified as the shooter. But because Robin identified as trans and posted a long, violent manifesto about his transgenderism and regrets and hatred of Donald Trump and Israel and the Jews and the Catholic Church and a billion other things, well, that's created a bit of a problem for the media.
We've also been going through it and can tell you there are crude diagrams of the church. There are also photos of the weapons, and they include all sorts of writings, the names of past mass shooters, criticism of Israel, the name of President Trump written on the guns. There are also racial slurs.
The name of President Trump. Racial slurs. You can see what they're doing here. They're trying to suggest maybe Westman was some sort of alt-right white supremacist MAGA fan. But what did the ABC leave out? Westman had written the words, "Kill Donald Trump," on his gun. I don't know. I kind of think that's important, you know, for context, right? If this had been a right-wing shooter, we'd have heard no end about the motivations. We'd be hearing about this for weeks and months. Westman was, quote, tired of being trans, unquote. According to the newspaper, Westman's manifesto included this: "I only keep the long hair because it is pretty much my last shred of being trans. I am tired of being trans. I wish I never brainwashed myself."
This is what I'm speaking of when I'm talking about the mental health issues within the trans community. They don't know who they are. They get sucked into this world of manipulation from society and things that are forced upon them from the Democratic left. These are the people that are encouraging these type of people to be okay with thinking that they're somebody else, when we should be letting them know, no, you were born this way, be this way. If you need to speak to somebody about certain things that are going on in your personal life or anything that you want to speak on in regards to your mental health, let's talk about it. Instead, we have the left wanting people to get sucked into this to the point where they get so crazy they end up taking other people's lives and leave manifestos saying, yeah, you know, I wish I was never brainwashed, blah, blah. You allowed yourself to be brainwashed. And everybody outside is allowed themselves to not participate in helping this individual seek the proper help that he needs.
We now know that the Minneapolis shooter, Robert Westman, was a mentally disturbed young man who at the age of 17, with the approval of his mother, went trans and changed his name to Robin.
I know the solution to this. We need to hold the parents accountable. 17 years old, and the mother gave the permission to allow him to change his whole world, and then ends up regretting it a few years later and taking people's lives, little kids' lives. This falls on the mother, in my opinion. She should go to jail, and they should show the rest of the country, listen, if you're a parent, listen, we don't want to be forcing parents to teach their kids a certain way, but you also do not have to indulge them into learning about trans, mental health issues that I know we shouldn't really be speaking on how our government or people in general should be forcing parents to teach their kids a certain way. But to an extent, there needs to be, because a lot of people in this country are having to encounter and deal with people like this. And in some situations, have to feel the loss of their loved ones because of these mentally ill people that decide to shoot up schools or do something to take people's lives. So yes, it gives everybody the responsibility to say, hey, parents out there, start teaching your kids. If your kids start telling you that, you know, there's something wrong, I don't feel like a boy, I don't feel like a girl, I feel like this, you need to quickly take them to counseling and have them sit down and talk to somebody professional about who they are. Because parents, you guys are, most of you out there are condoning this to the point where you don't have any control of the repercussions that your kid chooses to make later on in life. And in this exact situation, years later, decides to go to an elementary school and kill 2 children. It needs to stop, and it needs to stop with the parents. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Like and subscribe, I would appreciate it. Till next time, peace out, everybody.